well, still not the point of this video, but we're doing pretty good on time, so it's fine. I'm gonna say it. I renamed my well, this is to do with the video that goes, I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it, part 2. I renamed my poetry that's Rate Me to be Waif Me, because that's what they sell it in Walmart and Kmart for, like, or under, WAIF, Waif Me. And, anyway, that's the first thing. I also added a supplementary poem underneath that, like in a page break, and it's called Hate Me, and it goes this way. I won't go until I'm crucified. I won't go until I'm crucified. I won't go until I'm crucified. I'm too proud to die by me. And every single trans person, you should feel the same way. We have a really high suicide rate, but I don't like to talk about it because, you know, we're too proud to die. You're proud. You're authentically yourself, and every single cis person is afraid to be authentically themselves. Most cis people are afraid to be authentically themselves. There are very few cis people that tell the truth. And you know what? You should be proud because it takes lots of courage to be you. And I'm proud of you, and I love you. So anyway, I just like, since I had Wave Me, and it was kind of like morbid, I just wanted to put it crystal clear. I'm not suicidal anymore since I started taking my meds. And 2, I don't think that trans people should be suicidal. Like, radical love. I love you. Okay? Um, anyway, the second part, the entire purpose of this video. I got through the gateless gate. Well, I got through it like another time. Like, I was already pretty much through the gateless gate because I was like, I knew that we were all one blob. But then, so this gateless gate introduced me to Zen Nothingness, and I didn't really understand how it was introduced in this book. And I know it pointed people towards this book, but I didn't finish it, to be honest, because it's very long, and I should probably just read the verses in it. But, mostly I just read books to get people's voices. But if they're really, really good, I'll finish it. I didn't think this book was really, really good. But this book I do think is really, really good. I haven't finished it yet. But it told me what Zen Nothingness is because there's a dude named Jaffe in this book, and he's like the most enlightened, or he thinks he is, and which I think is all it takes to be enlightened. Um, and he said something about how, like, everything was the mind and nothing really existed, and it was just like the mind hallucinating all of it. And I didn't get it when I read it because I had read Zen Nothingness in this book, and what confused me about this book is it said, like, if we didn't exist, nothing would still exist, but we are nothing and everything, and I can't find the specific, maybe I just read it wrong because I can't find it again. I tried to find it. Um, and if I find it, I'll make another YouTube video about how I found the thing that confused me in this book. But this is much better to teach you about Zen Nothingness, in my opinion. Like, nothing against cones, but they're translated. And anything that's translated should be, is that real? Like, Rumi, all of Rumi is whitewashed, and lots of it has, like, Islam taken out of it. Which, like, free Palestine. I just think it's important to say right now, because what's happening is not okay. Um, but I'll leave other people to talk about that. I mean, like, our president is colluding with terrorists, but this is just my opinion. White terrorist. It's not anti-Semitic to say that Palestine should be freed. It's pro-Semitism because I was reading this, and I clearly have not gotten through this. But King told the truth about suffering and what was happening because we want it to get better. And I'm telling the truth about what's happening. Like, I've never been there, but I know the truth. Like, it's wrong. Totally not the point of this video. But it's fine. We've gone in on so many tangents. We're already 6 minutes in. Oh my god. My videos have to stay underneath 15 minutes. I've said this before in past videos, but I record through QuickTime and 15-minute cap, and it's all just stream of consciousness. So anyway, we're back to the Dharma bums, and solipsism. Uh, Solipsism is the idea that we're just a mind floating in space, imagining it all. But in my opinion, space and time are the mind itself. Um, So, anyway, we're just like one hive mind, if you want to call it that, or something, and like the distinctions between ourselves are illusory due to relativity, and being in space time, traveling a certain speed, and being of a certain mass. Um, just a theory. I've tried to run away from it multiple times. I keep refining it, so it like all comes full circle. I learned about solipsism and theory of knowledge. Everyone in my class, in the 11th grade, everyone in my class thought it was batshit crazy. Even the professor did. Well, I don't know about the professor. They just kind of went along with the class because it was like a Socratic discussion. But solipsism is truth in a way. It's like the nothing. Well, it is truth. I feel like some of it, the interpretations of how it's said is different. But we are just like, the energy of the universe is all one mind. Um, I don't, like, it feels real, right? Like, I can't deny that. I can't deny that there's something there. But I think it's like two different sides of it. Um, so from one perspective, it is solipsism. And anyway, before I go any further, I have a poem about it. Like most of my beliefs, I put it in poem because it's like a little bit too like everyone, even Emily Dickinson says this, and Emily Dickinson I read recently, and let me just get the book that I read because this is, I mean, I haven't read any other Emily Dickinson's editions, but this edition is really good. Um, I got it because it compared her to Walt Whitman, and I really like Walt Whitman. Um, the Essential Emily Dickinson, Joyce Carol Oates, if you want to get something. It's really tiny. I read it in a day. Um, it's very good. Um, and Emily, it also goes over an introduction about Emily Dickinson, about how like she never found fame in her lifetime, and like all the men in her life told her she was stupid. And I mean, I tried, like, some people imagine Emily Dickinson as a lesbian. I obviously imagine Emily Dickinson as a trans man, but to each their own. Emily Dickinson was just Emily Dickinson. You can't, like, she was whatever. Um, I'm not telling Emily Dickinson what she was. That's not my point. I just can imagine her how I feel like I want to. And you can imagine her how you feel like you want to. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not trying to take away from lesbians. Don't go crazy on it. But Emily Dickinson said that people that were enlightened, because she was a transcendentalist, are crucified. So anyway, go ahead, crucify me. Go ahead, hate me. I wrote a poem about it. That's how I feel. I'm not going to stop speaking the truth until you crucify me. So, come at me. Anyway, this is a good book too. I've only gotten through the introduction, but I really like it so far. I mean, I don't think I'm going to hate it because the introduction was good. And, and the dude that edited it wrote the introduction. So, it's got to be good. It's got to be good. Um, anyway, uh, back to my poem about solipsism, because we're running out of time. There's so many tangents that I just wasn't affording for, or like expecting. I don't think affording for is the right, like, I guess a little bit. It's a different use than I think is normal, but most of my uses are abnormal because I speak Kurdish, not English. I don't want to speak your supremacist, white, supremacist, patriarchal bullshit language. Male supremacist. Um, Notice I'm both white and male. I still don't want to speak it. Anyway, mind in space-time. This is my poem. Solipsism transcends the mind to make what's found and left behind. Solipsism is one and none and two and three and you and me. Solipsism. Oh, there's more Z's than I put in my... It's okay. No distinction between mind and matter, heaven and extinction. Solipsism, born is none, dead is none. Solipsism is all one. That's why I think Epicurus said we were God among men if we weren't afraid of death. And that, it takes like 2 seconds to read that. It's Epicurus's letter to Meniscus, and it's online. Don't fear death. It's like you cannot fight for your life, yes, but if you fear death, you're gonna be afraid to fight for your life. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. So don't, fearing death is fearing life. So don't do it. I took an entire philosophy of death class about how it was absurd to not fear death, because it was taught by a bioethics professor at the hospital, and that's why I called doctors. I mean, he was a chair of bioethics at the hospital, and that's why I say doctors are fear of death mongers. And I'm sure there's some very good doctors that aren't fear of death mongers, but that's why if you well, I have two problems with doctors. One, they label all babies cis, and that's just wrong. It's unscientific and wrong. I'm sorry. Like, I want to like doctors. Like, they give us our meds. They give us our surgeries. But they haven't realized that we exist yet from birth. Anyway, please don't put gender markers on babies. It's really wrong. I don't care what you do as parents. I'm talking about doctors specifically. If parents are told the wrong things by doctors, you should probably do what the doctors tell you. I'm just saying. But like, take your vaccinations. That's not why, okay? Um, anyway, don't fear death. Take your vaccinations, though. Like, fight for your life, but don't fear death. Because it's pointless. It's just gonna make you afraid to fight for your life when you need to fight for it. Like, it kind of makes sense to fear death if you aren't gonna do anything worth living for. Like, anything that's abnormal or brave and courageous, then fear death. But if you want to be brave, stop fearing death. You have lots of life to live. Love your life. Anyway, that's just like Kurt's wise words of the day. I don't know how wise they are, but they're getting there. I think we're almost close. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye.